Hey guys, happy Independence Day. And I just wanted to do kind of an off balance, kind of different video where I take God knows how long to go through my USA made knives in my collection. So, as you guys know, I collect knives from all over the place. And this is just going to be folding knives. So, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go through my American folders and or my American modern folders and share them with you guys, starting with this Kershaw Launch. If I'm not mistaken, this is the Launch 9. It's a little made in America, kind of pokey little automatic. Um, Not much of a utility knife, but a great little fifth pocket knife. Aluminum handles. And I want to say the blade steel is CPM 154, and just the first little USA made knife that we're going to go over tonight. Before we get too far in it, guys, I want to thank all of my channel members. Thank you all so much for supporting the channel. And if you guys haven't subscribed yet, you're new here, or you just haven't had the time, if you'd hit that subscribe button and that bell notification icon next to it, thank you, thank you, thank you. It means so much to me. All right, so the Kershaw Launch 9. So the way this is probably going to work as I go through my cases is it's going to probably be more brand oriented. So our first knives that we're going to look at are the Benchmades in my collection. So this is a Blade HQ special edition Benchmade um, bug out. It came with the gray scales, same hardware, same green standoffs. What made this one different is in 20 CV, and it was a Blade exclusive or Blade HQ exclusive. I loved it. I put some different scales on it. I'd had some micarta scales on this before. It came from the factory with G10 scales. I settled on and am in love with these Metenboss titanium scales with the riveting. Makes this knife very fun to carry. I really do enjoy it. As far as American made knives go, this is a great one. And this is the Benchmade Bug Out, made in America. Moving on, we come to the Benchmade Mini Bug Out. This was the basic Smoky Mountain Knife Works Mini Bug Out with the black blade and the white FRN handles. I'd put some aluminum, titanium, or titanium scales on it. They didn't fit real good. They were one of the early generations, kind of made the action a little bit wonky, because this again is just a base S30V, came with the white FRN or Gravry scales. And I found these sharp dress scales from, these micarta blanket scales from Sharp Dress Knives. Absolutely love them. Makes this knife very, very light. It's a great little small carry in that same vein of the Bug Out. And I'm a big fan of the Bug Out because it's light, it's thin, it's slicey, and it's just a really good knife. So as we go on, journey down made in the USA mode, we've got the Benchmade Mini Bug Out. And then moving on through Benchmade land, we've got one of my first grails. This is one of the first knives that I really, really wanted, waited forever to get. It was a lot for me to jump on at the time because I wasn't spending this kind of money on knives. But a lot of people have a love-hate relationship with the Osborne, the 940. I'm a huge fan of this knife and its little brother. I love the geometry of the knife, not because it's the sliciest thing on the planet, but because I can use this knife for a lot of different applications. It's a hard use knife. It has stood the test of time, and it is the Osborne design, Benchmade 940 in the OG aluminum, made in America. And then moving on, we come to its little brother, which is a later release. But this is the Benchmade 945 or the Benchmade 940 Mini. And it's also an S30V. This happens to be one of the first production runs. It's going to have the same blade geometry, It's going to have the same green aluminum scales. It does not have the green backspacer like you get in the 940, but it does have, or excuse me, the purple backspacer, but it does have the purple standoffs. I've often thought about adding something, but I'm just not sure if I can get the matchy color. But guys, I carry this probably now more than my 940 because it's a smaller knife, kind of fits my jam. It's very light, takes up very little room, has the axis lock, great action. And again, I'm a big fan of the 940. So let's continue on through Benchmade land and look at some more made in America knives. Probably one of my most unique and my favorite Benchmades is this Made in America S30V first production run of the Mini Loco. The Mini Loco for Benchmade is different in a lot of ways. It's got a captive pivot. It's got really strong axis springs. It's got this contoured G10 handle that almost is done like a pew grip. And then it's got the hole deployment. The ergonomics of this knife are fantastic. The way it fits in hand are fantastic. This again is a first production run, but it is a thick, beefy Benchmade knife. As you can tell here, it's probably one of the thickest. The Adamas might be close, the Mini Adamas, but it's got this really tall, almost full flat grind, super thick blade, really strong G10, got a lanyard loop, and it's just probably one of my favorites. The liner lock on it, or the, excuse me, liner lock. The axis lock is snappy. This hole deployment works great. I'm not a thumb flicker, but I can thumb flick it. I can slow roll it if I want to, but just a really good knife. One of my favorites, a little on the bigger side, so it's going to be a heavier knife, but when we're talking about made in USA knives, we're going to see some bigger knives. So guys, moving on down Benchmade land, we come to the first Benchmade that I purchased when I was into knife collecting, early COVID, and that is this little Mil Pardue Benchmade Mini Griptilian in G10, 20 CV. It has a sheep's foot blade instead of the standard blade with the little finger spidey hole type thing. Um, Again, it's a small knife. I don't have a full-size Griptilian, but we'll look at several Ritter Hogue RSK1s, which are pretty much the same thing. I like them better, and I'll show you why. But this knife was kind of unique. They're out of production now. It's a great little knife, one that I don't carry as much as I'd like to, but one that'll be a permanent part of the collection because it is that unique, and you just can't find them anymore. And that's the little Mini Griptilian, the Mil Pardue version. So as we round the corner of Benchmade, made in the USA, we've got this odd looking knife, which is actually a Benchmade Mini Adamas. It's a Mini Adamas with made in the USA, AWT, Advanced Weapon Technology scales. This particular knife is in CPM crew wear. It is an absolutely slicey, beefy monster, probably the hardest working Benchmade that I have. Also the one that's cut me the worst, almost cut my pinky finger off when the blade fell on it. But it was just so sharp, had it at 90 degrees, had my finger in there, and the blade simply did that and just fell. And I thought my fingernail, my pinky nail had stopped it, but it cut right through my pinky nail and right through my finger. So I just globbed a bunch of new skin on there, aka super glue, let it sit for a week, and somehow my finger grew back together. But this knife, guys, again, I love it. I love these applied weapons technology scales. I didn't have a problem with the G10 scales. They just weren't really my jam. And these just really make the knife feel like a beast. And this is the Benchmade Mini Adamas, probably my hardest working Benchmade. And we are rounding Benchmade corner to another little unique one. And we've only got a couple more Benchmades to look at. But this is a great little gentleman's knife. This is a little made in America, manual, Benchmade, valet. It is a small knife, G10, M390 blade, has this nice kind of harpoony spear point blade, I guess for lack of a better term. Of course, it has the axis lock, has great action, very light, very gentlemanly. You know, it's about the size of the mini bug out. I'm thinking that they make this is about the size, a little bit longer, but not much of the mini. So when I look at the Valet, I'm thinking of it in the size of the minis. So they don't make a full size Valet that I'm aware of, but this is a great little knife, great office carry. You don't even know you've got it in your pocket. But we will move to our last Made in America in Oregon Benchmade. And this is my M4 full size Freak. So, in terms of beefy Benchmades, between the Mini Locos, the Adamas, and the Freak, I have got the banger side of the Benchmades covered. Again, axis lock, coated blade, M4 blade steel, super slice. See, very toothy, as all my Benchmades are. I love the way that this blade and this uh, little jimping here kind of put your hand in a position to really get pressure down on that blade. But the Freak is a great knife. If I was going to get another Benchmade, or if I get another Benchmade, it may be a Mini Freak. I've kind of moved on and gotten a lot of Benchmades, so we'll see. But anyways, that is the Benchmade Freak as we cruise through my USA folding collection. Moving on, we come to what my brother Metal Complex always shows as his full-size Griptilian comparison knife. This is the Ritter Hogue. This is my custom that I got for helping with Knife Live, which is a forever keeper for me. But this is G10. What Ritter Hogue does, I think that's so much better than a standard Griptilian, is you get these really nice contoured, milled G10 handles. You get this deep carry clip, even though it's not mounted really deep, but it gives you room for your lanyard hole. You've got this, all this steel little liner area is thicker steel. The springs are thicker springs. The actual axis bar that you pull back is much beefier. The thumb studs are beefier. The blade steel's 20CV instead of S30V stonewash. And this is the full-size Ritter RSK MK1. Moving on, we have another made in the USA Ritter RSK MK1. This is my user. This is the one that I had long before I got the one from KnifeWorks. You can tell this one's had a lot more action run through it, where my Knives Live is a Safe Queen. But this is my user, Ritter Hogue 20CV, full-size RK1. I think it's better than the Griptilian in every way, and that's taking nothing away from the Griptilian because I love Benchmades too. But moving on, we have got the Mini RSK, the Mini Ritter Hogue. This is like the little Griptilian, but it's Doug Ritter's version. So again, it has a 20 CV blade, has that drop point right around the same size as the Mini Grip, but it has that contoured, heavily milled G10 handle, really nice, thicker liners here, thicker springs, more contoured and more aggressive thumb studs. And I mean, this little guy is great. It's in the purple G-Carta, and I love it. So that gets us through Benchmade, and that gets us through our friends at Ritter Hogue. So that brings us to Hinderer Corner. So I was late to the Hinderer game in terms of owning a Hinderer, buying a Hinderer. And then I went into it to get the selection that I felt like I wanted. Am I through buying Hinderers? Probably not, but I've got the selection now that I really like, and this is the mid-size Hinderer Jurassic. This knife splits the difference between the XM18 3.5 inch and the XM18 3-inch. It's a great little beefy knife. I added the titanium stonewash blue scale, show side scale, to match the lock side scale, because I do like the titaniums. I only have one that's not full tie, and it's in CPM 20 CV. It does operate on the tri-way system, which gives you thumb studs and a really good flipper. And the tri-way system right now, it's running on bearings, but these Hinderers come with phosphorus bronze washers and with uh, nylon washers, so you can change them out. It'll run on any of those three systems. And that is the Hinderer Jurassic, made in USA. Moving on, we come to my smallest in terms of shortest Hinderer. This is the Hinderer half track in stonewash, and I found a stonewash scale for it. It is the Warncliffe version. It is a small little chunk of a knife. I love this knife for several different reasons. One, it's small. I can flick it, but under the camera, it gets a little problematic off that fuller. But it's my only Hinderer currently in MagnaCut, full tie. And then it has a special surprise where said Stevie had purchased this Lynch clip for one of his knives, and I always forget the maker's name. But the Hinderer clips, this was a Hinderer clip, and they're designed to be inset. So Stevie was faced with having Casey Lynch was going to grind it down for him so it would fit his knife, and instead they just decided to make Stevie a clip for his little 3.5 that everybody knows. I tried to buy one at a blade show, but they were out of the Tantos. But this is my only Hinderer with a custom Lynch clip, and it's the Hinderer half track. I love this and all my Hinderers, and made in America, something I'm proud to have in my collection. So moving on, we come to a Hinderer 3-inch Eclipse, which is going to be more of a gentleman's Eclipse in my mind, because it's overall thinner blade stock, smaller knife, 3-inch blade. It's a great daily carry if you're going to be going to the office or you're not going to be doing anything super hard use. Should you have to do anything super hard use, you're going to be fine, because again, this particular Hinderer's in 20 CV. It's got the battle blue lock side, and then I added a smooth battle blue tie side to it. Working man's finish on the blade, and just a great little Hinderer, guys. This Warncliffe is fantastic. Moving on, we come to the OG, one of my favorites, the second one that I added to my collection. This is the 3.5 inch Hinderer XM18, probably the most popular Hinderer that you see out there. This is actually in the Spanto blade, also tri-way. So it's got thumb studs, it's got a flipper. You can reverse flick it. It's on bearings now, but you can put it on phosphorus bronze washer, or you can put them on those other washers. This particular species is in S45 VN, and I added the Battle Bronze contoured show side scale to match the Battle Bronze standard lock side. So moving on through Hinderer corner, we come to my first Hinderer, the only one I've not been able to acquire a titanium scale for, but I did get a black micarta scale. And this one was the one that started it all, thanks to my brother, Dark Gravity. He insisted that I try this knife out and really give it consideration, because I didn't really think Hinderers did much for me. I wasn't that enticed with them. This is a 3-inch XM18 with a Skinner blade, which is one of my favorite blade shapes because it is very slicey, very thin, and I love it. It's in battle black. It's in CPM 20 CV, and it has a black micarta scale on it. The only holdout not to have full tie, but as soon as one becomes available and I'm able to snag one, I will, because I love these 3-inch XM18s. And this is a forever knife for me because it not only has swagger value, it's got major sentimental value. So I love this knife. Now we will go to the last hinderer in my current collection and one of my favorites. This is my flipperless Eclipse that I got from Knife Joy, that I did a little, not mod, but I did some customizations to it. I ordered the Battle Bronze clip and the Battle Bronze filler, and then I ordered the Battle Bronze hardware and standoffs, and then I ordered the smooth Battle Bronze, or excuse me, Stonewash Bronze show side scale, because it's Stonewash Bronze on the lock side. And this knife, guys, has amazing action, thumb stud only. I can reverse flick it, I can thumb flick it. Has fantastic ergos, just a little bit more tactical in that blade design than the XM18, but gets as much pocket time as any of them. And this is my Hinderer Eclipse flipperless in 20 CV, and I love it. Moving on, we'll come to my favorite USA manufacturer, which is our friends at Three Rivers Knives. Shout out to Marianne and Lee Halpern. But this is my smallest TRM. This is the OG version of the TRM Nerd. I thought I could flip it and impress you guys, but I'm not. So this is kind of a slow roller. It's got this indentation in the blade to make it easy to open it. It is a liner lock. You can open it like a slip joint. You can thumb flick it if you get it good, if your fingers aren't sweaty, or you can slow roll it. But like most TRMs, I've got a bunch of different scales for this. This is my only one that's not wearing full titanium. These are Midnight Blue scales, micarta, but you simply remove these two screws, the pocket clip, these two screws, and you can do a scale swap without touching your pivot. You've got titanium liners, steel lock bar, super thin, slicey blade geometry in 20 CV. Probably some of the sliciest knives in my collection, and that's not just this knife, that's every TRM I own. They are known for great heat treats, thin slicey blades, and more importantly, being probably the kindest, most philanthropical, most giving USA made company, or company in that matter, that I've ever had any experience with. And no, I've not received anything from them, but I just know how they work, and I've done Knives Live, and I've watched them jump over themselves to be a contributor in Knives Live. And this is a new version of the Nerd, where they took the suggestion of one of their fans, and they made a version with a full finger hole in the same blade, same size, same 20 CV, but it makes it truly a one-hand opening knife. And guys, this thing carries like a much bigger knife in terms of what you can do with it, but it's not going to be heavy, very easy to carry. And that is the TRM Made in America Nerd. From there, we move to the TRM Neutron. The TRM Neutron is probably my most carried TRM. It's a mid-sized knife, kind of a medium-sized knife, fits my hand really well. Has the same system to swap out scales. I just sent a box of scales to our friend Maresalt because, again, once you go titanium, it's kind of hard to go back. So I forwarded him out some scales for his Neutron. But this is the TRM Neutron, 20 CV, titanium scales, titanium clip, made in the USA by a company that's heart is as big as their knives are good. Thank you, Marianne. Thank you, Lee, for all you do for the community. And thank you for making fantastic knives. In America, moving on. Another banger. Looks just like the Neutron, but this is actually the TRM Atom. This is its full-sized brother. Guys, I love this knife. I like it no less than the Neutron. It's just bigger. So it's going to have those days where it makes all the sense in the world to carry this knife, and it's going to make sense sometimes to carry the Neutron. Some days I might just need to carry the Nerd. But this is the TRM Atom. Everything TRM makes, from their hardware to their blades to their titanium to the clip, with the exception of carbon fiber. If you order carbon fiber scales or a carbon fiber Neutron or Atom, they proudly source that from Lithuania. It says so right on their website. Lithuania, you can't get carbon fiber at any type of workable price because of the EPA regulations of working with it. So I love a company that's giving. I love a company that makes awesome knives. And I love a company that's transparent. When they say made in America, they're made in America. As all these guys are. But moving on. This is my number one TRM. Only thing that would make it better is had I waited and purchased it in titanium. But I almost take that back because I think this knife, the Shadow, is almost more suited for this G10. Fits the hand like an absolute glove. The G10 scales have milling, have a little texture, but they're not rough. You've got this river lock, which is TRM's solution to the axis lock, and it is done so much better. Reversible clip, 20 CV, no surprises here. TRMs are slicey. And if I haven't said so already, I love them. God bless America and God bless TRM. But that is our journey through TRM Corner, also made in the wonderful USA. Moving on, we have a little solo guy here. And this is our Tactile Knife Company, Rockwall, a great little gentleman's folder. This species has titanium, just the OG textured handles, the OG regular thumb stud, in MagnaCut, tactile, liner lock, great action, great thud. Probably one of my favorite, if not my favorite, gentleman's knife, just because it's so sleek, so unassuming looking. But made in America by Tactile Knife Company, who also makes tactile turn pins, the Tactile Knife Rockwall. Moving on, we come to a couple of knives that have had a recent facelift. These are my Hogue Decas, guys. Both these knives, when I had them and reviewed them, had the black FRN handles. Fantastic knives, fantastic values. These are the old generation, as you can tell by the multiple screws. But sent these off to Marty at Original Goat so he could template them, because I knew a lot of people were looking for Original Goat scales for their Gen 1 Decas. So if you guys are any of those people who get Gen 1 Hecka scale or Gen 1 Deca scales, you're welcome. And Marty and team, thank you guys for making me such a sweet, sweet deal on the ones that you made when you were doing prototypes. But guys, take these American-made Original Goat scales off of this knife. It's still an amazing knife. This is the drop point, treated blade, CPM 20 CV, beautiful action. This is a compound ground Wharncliffe, my favorite. I love what they've done with the scales. The action is unbelievable. These knives, when I got them before Gen 2 came out, I want to say were $115 each. I got them at Smoky Mountain Knife Works. Moving on, and it's only because I'm going to skip that one for now. We will look at ProTech Corner. So, ProTech is another one of my favorite US manufacturers. I'm not a big automatic guy, but I think Doug over at ProTech's one of the nicest guys. He's engaged with me at so many different knife shows, from Blade Show to the Nashville Custom Knife Show. So much so, that's where I picked up my ProTechs. This is my second Malibu. I had one that was in just regular aluminum, smooth aluminum, and this is the textured aluminum. I picked this up at the Nashville Custom Knife Show. It is my favorite button lock. I think it lives up to every bit of the hype. If I have any regrets about this knife, and I don't, it was that I held on to the smooth as well. So I had the older version too. But this knife is in CPM 20 CV. It has action like no other. Probably one of the best button locks in the game. And that is the ProTech Made in America Malibu. Moving on, we've got its big brother that I picked up in Nashville this year. And this one's in MagnaCut. This is the ProTech Fair and Forge Mordax. Drop is out of the equation now. This was the reintroduction of the Mordax. They've crowned the spine. They've upped the blade geometry on this knife. Everybody used to get him hollow ground. It's still a flat grind, but the blade stock's thinner. I think the blade geometry's been done a little better, and I find it very slicey. I didn't think there would be a knife that I would like more than the Malibu. This knife, even though it's a larger knife on what I would carry on the daily, guys, I love it. The actions snap. The drop is sick. The MagnaCut blade makes me smile. The texturing on the handle makes me smile. And that is the ProTech Fair and Forge Mordax. Made in the USA. Moving on. My only ProTech automatic. Made in the USA. What I would consider a great EDC automatic if you're interested in something like that. This is the Newport. It's a gentleman's automatic. It's small, thin. I can easily one-hand close it. Has that ProTech kick. Has a great edge. I like the way it's got the stonewash and the satin. I like the way it's very understated with minimal branding. I love that clip. And just think, this is a great little knife, and I'm not an automatic guy, but I carry this one quite often, and it'll stay in my collection. So moving on, we are going to come around to Spyderco. What can I say about Spyderco? Best heat treats in the game. Fantastic knives. Some people love them. Some people hate them. I fall on the side of loving them. I've got a lot of Tai Chung Spydercos, and I've got a lot of Made in America Spydercos. The ones I'm going to run through with you guys kind of quick right now, so I don't spend too much time, are the Made in the USA ones. This is the Spyderco Manix 2. It is the one from Knife Center that was in Crewwear, CPM Crewwear. I updated it with rock scale designs, titanium scales that are made in America, and put a titanium ball clip or ball lock on it. Got rid of the liners because these are linerless scales. And now this is one of my EDC knives extraordinaire. I love it. Made in America. Probably one of my favorite Spydercos, and I've got a lot of favorite Spydercos, but this is the Manix 2. Moving on. Knock these out as one. Spyderco Paramilitary 2. What can I say, guys? the Spyderco Paramilitary 2. I'm a smaller guy who has medium and large size hands. I had a Paramilitary 3 and I sold it. And I did not like it. Why? I don't know. It did not fit my hand the way the Para 2 does. The Para 2, for me, is my jam. I love it. I've got these three here. The Cutlery Shop exclusive that I traded with OCD for EDC4. It's in CTS XHP. I've got my Blurple that I put some sharp dress scales on or Rip Garage Tech scales on. It's in CPM S110V. And then I've got the Tanto I picked up from Keith the Knife Freak, my brother. And this is the way it came from him with these Alice Putman micarta scales. He had the hardware already upgraded, and this one's in CPM 30V. So when we talk about favorite Spydercos, yes, I love the Mannix, probably more so than the Para 2, but the Para 2s, Golden Colorado, USA Earth, have been favorites of mine. My first Spyderco after the Dragonfly was a Para 2, and this is probably my smallest American-made Spyderco. And this is the Little Native, Golden Colorado, USA Earth. This is the breast cancer awareness one that came with pink G10 that I loved, and I kept it on there for a while. This is in the CPM S45VN. I added these Rips Garage Tech micarta scales when they became available, just because I like micarta. I love this little knife, guys. It carries like a bigger knife with that choil. It's a fantastic secondary carry and also a fantastic primary carry. Great specimen that was made in the USA, and that is the Spyderco Little Native. Moving on, my most wicked made in the USA Spyderco. This is my Yojimbo 2. I won't spend a lot of time on it, but it is Golden Colorado, USA Earth. It is in CPM S30V. Has this wicked, 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 wicked hollow grind fighting blade, self-defense blade, slurpy saver blade, whatever you want to call it. And then these titanium scales came from Knives Plus. They were anodized by them. They're smooth. I added the purple hardware and the purple MX gear clip. But this is my Spyderco. Why did I just go blank on that? My Spyderco Yojimbo 2. Moving on, down Made in America Spyderco lane. The last one we'll come to. Another one of my favorites. The Spyderco Shaman. The first knife I could successfully finger flick. And the biggest Spyderco in my collection. The most overbuilt. And I love it, guys. I added these sharp dressed Purple Haze carbon fiber scales. This was a Cutlery Shop exclusive in CTS XHP. Had orange scales. I got the purple scales that are contoured. Absolutely love it. Got a Lynch Northwest clip for the Shaman. This knife is probably one of the finest made in America knives that I carry. And it just because it feels so oomph. Moving on, we will come to our friend from Arizona. And these are knives made for Medford Tool and Knife Company. This particular one here was my second Medford that I brought in, and this is the Slim Midi. This one's a little bit special because it has the falling leaf patterns. That's what this is called, where you've got these leaves or these little checks in the pattern, in the titanium, gives it a little grip. This particular knife is a drop point. It's an S90V. It's got amazing action. It's on bearings. Drop shutty. I consider this my overbuilt gentleman's knife because again, has a very thin profile, carries very well, and is up for just about any task in that S90V. Moving on, through Medford Land. I like that knife so much, I wanted to see what the thicker one was like. So this is the Medford Midi Marauder, not the Marauder H. So it's the same length as my Slim Midi. It's in a Tanto as opposed to the drop point. So you can see these are exactly the same length. They're just radically different in their build out. Where the Marauder, Mini Marauder, is much thicker, much heavier, thicker blade stock, thicker handle scales, great action. It's also on washers. I love the Tanto here because you've got this deep hollow and then you've got this sick flat up front. And this guy here, I want to say it's S, so I'm thinking this is S35VN. And it is the Medford, made in Arizona, USA, planet Earth, Mini Marauder. Guys, we are rounding the corner. 2 more knives. And I'm sure I left one out or 2 out. But this is my final Medford. And this was the first Medford I purchased. And this will probably be my tomorrow 4th of July carry. Because this is the Medford Infraction with the stars and bars pattern. It has blue anodized hardware. It has the star and a circle and a tail logo of a World War II fighter plane. Has rivets etched into the handle. And guys, it's got one of the sickest blades that drew me to it before I ever looked at the pattern of the knife. This is a knife that fits my hand like a glove. It's thicker. It's as thick as the Midi Marauder, so it's a full-size, very able knife. Deep, deep hollow grind here. Nice, sexy blade. Got a finger hole for deployment. Also has a flipper tab, if that's your thing. But made in America, proudly sport in America. And this is the Medford Knives Infraction. Which brings us to my last made in USA modern folding knife for our video today. This is the Michael Zeba S5 Odin. Michael Zeba's a knife maker and a jeweler out of Brooklyn, New York. He builds all these himself. This is contoured titanium. This is a blade, an M390 that he partners with Knight Knives. Jason Knight makes the blade for him. He makes the handles and does all the artwork on these different series. This is the S5 Odin. So everything in from the back spacers that are actual jewelry to get my light. Whoops. I don't know if you guys can see that. It's got script in the back of the back spacer. And then you've got these little skulls stacked on each other, making up the back spacer. But you have a titanium knife. It says Til Valhalla on the clip. Has skulls and all this other Nordic symbolism. Images that if you look at this knife over and over, you will see different things in it every single day. Has fantastic action. It's a flipper only. Has this very tactical blade with this poon, this nice recurve. And guys, it is sharp. And I will not be beating the shit out of this anytime soon because I love this knife. It's not a safe queen. I do carry it out, but it's not going to be one that I baton through a 2x4 or anything like that. So, guys, I think I have just walked you through my, as of today, July 3rd, 2023, my USA folding knives. So stay tuned, because tomorrow, if I'm feeling patriotic, I will bring you guys a video later in the day with my USA fixed blade knives, and we'll see where that gets us. Guys, thank you, thank you, thank you. If you've taken this long to watch this video, I love you all no matter what. Please hit that subscribe button, that bell notification, thumbs up, thumbs down. Look out for the guy to the left, gal to the right. Look out for each other. Go forward with love in your heart. Choose debate, not hate. I love each and every one of you. Happy 4th, happy Independence Day. Go USA. Peace.